Hello, my friends. Today, let's start with this. The US is openly discussing the return of American companies to the Russian market. The US and Russia have opportunities for joint work, said Marco Rubio. According to the US Secretary of State, discussions are not only about frozen Russian assets, but also about American companies that suffered losses after exiting the Russian market. This will be part of a broader conversation about how to resume our relations, he stated. Trump also personally said that he wants to buy resources from Russia.
To buy minerals on Russian land too, if we can. The rare earth, they have very good rare earth also. They both do. I would say that, and oil and gas. Look, it's a great thing if we sell this. It's great for Russia too, because we can do deals there. They have very valuable land that isn't utilized. So something like that could take place. Yeah.
As we can see, Trump isn't planning to cut off Russia's financial resources to prevent this war from continuing and new ones from starting. On the contrary, he's proposing cooperation and making more money together, which completely contradicts his campaign statements. And now, Peskov has stated that Russia will work on restoring relations with the US, saying they have a lot of work ahead.
In order to say that we trust the Americans, we need to go through a serious process. We will have to develop measures to restore and strengthen mutual trust. There will be many small steps toward each other that will help rebuild this atmosphere of trust. A lot has been damaged over the past few years, a lot has been destroyed. And so, of course, restoring it overnight is impossible. It will take a lot of work.
First, they called the US their main enemy, and now they suddenly want to mend relations. The circus continues. Meanwhile, since Trump still hasn't been able to resolve the situation in Ukraine, the White House keeps reassuring everyone, insisting that Trump is the only one who can stop this war.
I think the president knows how to make a deal better than anyone who has ever assumed the office of the American presidency. And in order to make a deal, you have to bring both sides to the table. And typically, when you make a good deal, both sides leave that table a little bit unhappy.
But for now, it looks like Zelensky isn't agreeing to US terms. Ukraine has not agreed to peace talks, said US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We are trying to get these guys to the negotiation table. Unfortunately, Ukraine has not agreed and wants to move forward in its own way, he said. Friends, be sure to share your thoughts on this in the comments. Meanwhile, as negotiations drag on, the situation on the front remains intense. Russian forces continue their attempts to seize as much Ukrainian territory as possible, starting with the Pokrovsk direction. Russians are storming Udachne and pushing toward Molodetsk. Battles in Kotlane remain ongoing, and since Russian forces have been unable to quickly encircle the city, they are now attempting to a direct breakthrough. Assaults near the village of Zvirove continue as well. Additionally, Russian forces are attacking the village of Promень, trying to break through near Tarasivka and advancing along the highway. However, despite the intense fighting, the front line has remained stable over the past 24 hours. Looking at the geolocation maps, it's clear that near the village of Shevchenko, Ukrainian forces are actively using FPV drones to target Russian troops, weakening their formations. Judging by recent footage, these strikes have been quite effective. In the Kurakhove direction, which is unfortunately deep in Russian occupied territory, fighting continues for Constantinople. Russian forces are also attempting to advance from Andriivka toward Oleksiivka and pushing from the village of Zaporizhzhia toward Toretsk. Meanwhile, they are trying to move from Nadezhdenka toward Kotlярivka, but so far without any success. Despite the high level of Russian activity, Ukrainian forces continue to repel all attacks and the front line remains unchanged. In the Velika Novosilka direction, Russian troops are trying to break through to the village of Burlatske, and battles for Novopil are ongoing. However, they haven't achieved any new gains in this sector as Ukrainian forces successfully hold the line and repel all attacks. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, there is currently a lull. Russian forces continue shelling but haven't launched any offensive actions. The front line remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, Russian troops are once again attempting to advance onto the islands near the right bank of the Dnipro River. They are also carrying out artillery strikes. However, Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all attacks, and Russia's operation remains unsuccessful. In the Toretsk direction, Ukrainian forces have achieved notable successes. Last night, soldiers reported pushing Russian troops back. Our guys managed to break through from the Krymsk area between Russian positions. Assault units advanced about 760 meters deep into Russian defenses. We've secured a few buildings. The Russians are trying to drive us out. Street fighting isn't going. No idea who's taking the worst hits, but everyone is getting their share. This indicates that the Russians don't have total dominance in this area, and Ukrainian forces are successfully counterattacking and even reclaiming some positions. This means that further Russian advances are unlikely in the near future, which is a positive development. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian forces continue the assaults on Stupochki, attempting to extend their southern flank closer to Kostantinivka. However, they haven't achieved any success, and the front line remains unchanged over the past 24 hours. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces have reduced the activity and no attacks have been recorded. However, regarding Bilohorivka, there are still no official statements, so we continue to wait for updates. In the Liman sector, Russian troops are assaulting Novolyubivka, attempting to break through to Katerinivka and Zelena Dolina. Despite no territorial changes in the past 24 hours, the situation remains difficult and Russian forces are not reducing their pressure. Geolocation data shows that Russian troops are heavily operating along the road from Liman to Zarichne using FPV drones to target Ukrainian positions. In the Burova sector, Russian forces are advancing toward Boguslavka, assaulting Nova Krugliakivka, and attempting a breakthrough toward Borivska Andriivka. However, further south, there is no notable activity and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian troops are only attacking Petropavlivka but without success, and the situation has remained the same over the past 24 hours. Near Dvorichna, the situation has stabilized for now with no recorded clashes today, meaning the front line remains unchanged. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces continue shelling without launching offensive actions. Fighting for Vovchansk is ongoing, but Russian troops have made no gains, and the front line has remained unchanged over the past 24 hours. In the Kursk sector, Russia's counteroffensive remains active with about 10 assaults per day, but they haven't achieved any success and the front line remains stable. Meanwhile, as the US and Russia seek to restore relations even in trade, the Russian ruble continues to strengthen daily, now standing at 86.25 ruble per USD. It seems that Putin is no longer insisting on abandoning the dollar. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.